Someone once told me that the reality I thought I knew was just one of many.
Hey guys, welcome to my first ever, I guess, review video. This is the first video I've done like this on YouTube, on my own YouTube channel, basically since my AfterBuzz days, where I used to very heavily review mostly Marvel, but just a lot of content in general. Movies, TV shows, and I've missed it a lot. So I literally just got back from watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that was one of the movies that I was looking forward to the most out of Phase 4, that and Blade, which I'm still looking forward to. So it was exciting to finally get to watch it after COVID and everything got pushed back a whole bunch. I really liked it. I'm just gonna do a little bit of spoiler free first, and then we'll jump into spoilers so you can dip out if you haven't seen it yet. Overall, I like the movie a lot. Was it perfect? And there were a couple moments that I thought things got a little bit cheesy, which I'll discuss later. But overall, I had a really good time. I thought it was wildly creative. I thought there were some moments that were really cool and really different, and it both felt like a Marvel movie and not a Marvel movie, if that makes sense. It was very clearly a Marvel movie, and it had that feel. And they even snuck in a couple of like funny moments. You know how Marvel tends to do that quite a bit, actually. But they still kept it darker. And I wouldn't go so far as to say that it was a horror movie, but it had some slight horror elements that felt really neat. And I want to talk about that too before I forget everything afterwards. And I definitely think that this is a movie that I'm going to probably see a second, maybe a third time. I saw it in 3D, which I don't know if that made it better or not. I want to watch it maybe in maybe like Dolby or something and just sort of compare and see which I prefer. But for the most part, pretty cool, pretty interesting things that they did. I really enjoyed having Sam Raimi come back. I know that, and I talked about this a lot on Marvel Movie News, when we were talking about Scott Derrickson, and this feels like a million years ago, so I'm sure there's some stuff that I'm not getting right anymore. But when Scott Derrickson exited the project, it was over creative differences, and we all kind of thought, everyone on that show, Christian and Zach, thought that that was because he wanted it, he was pushing for more horror than Disney wanted it to be. And I understand it's sort of that fine line between, oh, we kind of want to make this a different sort of movie, we want to add some horror elements, but also this is still a Disney movie and we still want kids to go. So I think they pushed it as kind of as far as they could. I think it could have benefited from maybe going to an R rating, and I think that Deadpool proved that just as many people would go see it. I saw tons of kids in the theater to see Deadpool, so I think it could have been done maybe just a little bit better had we gotten the R rating and sort of really pushed the envelope. That being said, they pushed it pretty far. There were some moments where there was actual blood. There was one moment that I wish I could have seen everything, but they sort of artfully shot it so that you didn't. Let's see. I think I want to get into spoilers now before it hasn't been very long, and I'm already like, let's jump into spoilers. But spoiler alert, we're going into spoilers now. So if you haven't seen it, please stop watching and then come back if you want to check it out after you've seen the movie. Okay, so spoilers. I'll talk about the things that bothered me first, maybe, because I know movie's ever going to be perfect. This wasn't like a perfect movie, but I really enjoyed what I watched. A couple of things that bothered me. In Spider-Man No Way Home, all of the Peter Parkers look different. And of course, that's because they brought back all of the different actors who played Spider-Man. And so they're all different Peter Parkers, and they're all Peter Parker in the multiverse, but they all look like different people. In this one, all of the Doctor Stranges look exactly the same and have gone through, I guess, some of the exact same moments or the exact same moments, which that was a little bit, I don't know why, it just wasn't consistent. And that consistency, I noticed that discrepancy sort of in the different movies. So I think that's something that maybe they could have explained maybe with something, just so I'm not thinking about it. I mean, this isn't the hugest deal in the world, but just the fact that they had different Peter Parkers, but the same Doctor Strange. Like, they didn't have different actors come in to play them. Getting to stuff that I did like. Well, okay, so another moment that I didn't like was when Stephen Strange, our Doctor Strange from the universe that we're used to seeing, our MCU, he dreamwalks into a corpse body of another Doctor Strange in the universe so he can try to stop Wanda to save America Chavez. So when he does that, there's these spirits that are going to come and try to get me because, you know, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I guess because he was doing it in a dead body, which wasn't allowed. When those spirits came after him, it definitely rang a lot more cheesy than it rang scary or like kind of cool. So in that moment, I was like, all right, well, this is a little cheese dick and just a little bit too much for me. So that bothered me a little bit. And then I think, all right, so this is, I'm back and forth on this. There's the scene where he goes to the other universe and he sees Baron Mordo, and he's the Sorcerer Supreme in that universe. And he is friends with Stephen, Doctor Strange, but we find out that a bunch of other stuff happened. Anyway, in that universe, there's Charles Xavier, which was really fucking cool. They threw a couple of cool ones in there. People have been talking about this, again, since I've done Marvel Movie News, which easily was like, it's been 2 years, maybe more than 2 years, or no, about 2 years, a little over 2 years since that ended. We were talking about this 2.5 years ago. People really, really wanted, and I completely spaced his name. Oh my God, he's from The Office. John Krasinski, thank you. Thank you, voice in the other room. John Krasinski to be cast as Reed Richards for a long time. People have really been calling for this for a while, and that is a casting I've actually was completely on board with. He would make an excellent Reed Richards, and we have not gotten a very good Fantastic Four movie ever. So I'm hoping that's what that leads to. That being said, he was cast as Reed Richards, and everybody was really excited. I thought that was really cool. They killed him very, very, very quickly. Again, I don't have a problem with this because now they've opened the multiverse, so anything is possible. So that Reed Richards died. There's going to be another Reed Richards. So in that universe, you have Charles Xavier. He also dies in kind of a fucking bad, like, cool way. That whole scene where they're in that universe, I loved that. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. And you have Agent Carter as Captain America, which that's been a what if storyline. I believe that was also a storyline in some of the comics. Anyway, that being said, she got cut in half with her own shield. This was the part that I both loved and was like, damn it, I wish we had seen the actual cutting in half. They showed her fall over, and they showed underneath the framing of the camera is where it goes through, and then she dies and falls over, and then it shows the shield with the blood on it. So that's what I mean by I think they took it as far as they could take it without going for an R rating. That being said, I would have loved to have seen that happen. So that was really cool. Then there's also, this bothered me a little bit. Captain Marvel in that universe got defeated by Scarlet Witch pretty quickly. I feel like that would have been slightly more evenly matched just power-wise. They both have powers from the Infinity Stone. They're both incredibly powerful. I wish I'd seen them battle it out maybe just a little bit more. That being said, it was still very cool. And that scene was awesome. I think another one of my favorite scenes was when Doctor Strange finds another one of his alternate hymns in another universe. This is one of the universes that collided with another universe. Had one of those events and basically destroyed them both, killed trillions of people, it sounds like. Anyway, they start fighting with musical notes. And that, I think, is probably my favorite scene, or at least one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, just because it was so creative and so unique. There were a lot of those moments where I was watching, I was like, wow, this is really fucking cool. And I think that's Sam Raimi coming in with these really cool, really creative moments that I enjoyed a lot. I loved that scene. I thought that was a really cool scene and a really fun way to fight with magic, because I know sometimes that can get a little bit dull for people. I know some people get kind of tired of the big CGI battles and a lot of the CGI stuff that happens, but I thought that was a cool way to kind of break it up and make it a little different. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. What they're doing with Wanda, I know some people didn't like that. Again, I've been doing Marvel content for so long that it's so fun and fucking rewarding, pardon my language, to finally see a lot of this come to fruition. We've been prophesizing and talking about them using Wanda as a villain or turning her into a villain literally for like since they announced it. And I had known for a while going in that it was going to be sort of a continuation of WandaVision, the show. And so I kind of had a sneaking suspicion that this was going to happen, and I was right. I think we all kind of thought that and knew that. So it's not like a huge surprise to anyone. But it was still really cool to see. And it's one of those things where I always appreciate when first of all, it makes you feel something because you've watched all those years of Marvel movies and she is a hero. And it's really sad to see what grief does to her. So you just see it kind of from that standpoint of there's this character that you used to love and you're kind of like almost a little bit rooting for her because it's so sad to see how much pain she's in. That being said, she's absolutely not right. But it's always cool to have a villain that you can sort of sympathize with and they're very humanized. I prefer those kinds of villains over just me villain, me evil. And I think that was what was so cool about Thanos was that granted it wasn't at all the storyline from the comic books. In the comic books, he does it for death. He does it to, oh my gosh, the word is escaping my brain. But anyway, he does it for death because he's in love with death and that to impress death. So that's why he's doing it, not because he thinks that the planet is overpopulated and it would make a lot of sense if we just had half of the amount of people. But that was still a cool storyline. And I think there are a lot of people in the world that agree with Thanos, even alive today, it's wild, but there are. So it's one of those villains that you're slightly sympathetic to and you're like, you know what? I see his point. So it's similar with Wanda. So I enjoy when they do that. The ending, it was a little anticlimactic. The ending, she finally realizes that what she's doing is wrong and she's in too much pain. And we think that she kills herself, but she destroys the temple that she's in. I don't know if she's really dead. That could very much go either way. I kind of doubt it. Maybe she's just sort of trapped herself in there. I'm not really sure. I don't know which other way it could have gone. It's true they couldn't defeat her, and there was no way they could. She's far too powerful. So that kind of had to be the only way that it went. But towards the end, I was kind of like, oh, all right, well, I guess that's it. I liked the actress who played America Chavez. That's not a character. She's, I think, a newer character in the comics. That's not one. 2011. Okay, so semi-new. She's been around for a while. That's not a character I'm super familiar with at all. So speaking on that from comics or any other standpoint, this is my introduction to her. So I could check out some of the comics maybe and see if I like them. I liked the actress who played her. She was very likable. She was a likable character. She wasn't annoying. You know how sometimes you're like, oh man, I came to see Doctor Strange. And this was a very Doctor Strange focused movie, which I'm happy that they did because it's a Doctor Strange movie. She's a character that sometimes when they bring these characters in, especially when it's a young girl or even a young boy or just a young kid, and you find yourself getting really fucking annoyed with the character, you're like, ugh, you're so annoying. I didn't feel that with her, so that's cool. So yeah, basically my overall thoughts on Doctor Strange were that I really enjoyed it. I liked how different it was. I liked that it felt like a Marvel movie, yet also kind of didn't. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. There's, again, spoilers, if you saw the end credit scene, there's going to be another Doctor Strange movie, which I'm also looking forward to with Charlize Theron. Now, I haven't looked into this either yet. I literally just watched this and came home, so I haven't looked into anything. Charlize Theron comes in as a character. I don't know what character that is. I'm sure there are people who have read the comics who are like, it's this character, you idiot. I haven't read all the comic storylines. There's so many. I'm going to look into that and see who that is because I'm curious to see. But I'm excited for the next Doctor Strange. I'm really excited for Blade. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the movie just as a whole. You can get into spoilers, you can get into detail, or just whether you liked it or not. Either or. And let me know if you like this kind of content, because if you do, I would like to keep doing more of it because I used to do a lot of this and I miss it. It's so fun. So yeah, let me know what you guys think and I will see you next time. Bye.